It's day 7 of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in office. Thanks for joining us on First 100 Days. I am Femi Akande. You can join the conversation now on Twitter if you use the hashtag First 100 Days. Remember to tag at TVC News NG and at Femi Akande. It's President Bola Tinubu's 1 week in office, and as promised, it seems he has hit the ground running, making bold economic statements as well as meeting with critical political and security stakeholders. He also made some key appointments last week. State House Correspondent Femi Akande has details in this report.
It is 1 week into the Bola Tinubu presidency. As the days begin to count, the expectations have not changed as President Tinubu charts his own course in steering the affairs of the country. 29th of May 2023 was the 7th presidential inauguration in the Fourth Republic that started in 1999. It was a fulfillment of Bola Tinubu's lifelong patriotic ambition to be the president of Nigeria. His inauguration was greeted by so much excitement and fanfare. After the ceremony at Eagle Square, the merriment continued. The inaugural presidential ball captured the mood of the country. Clearly, there was no time to bask in the euphoria of the presidential inauguration. The day after, President Tinubu resumed work in the presidential villa. He held meetings with the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria to get a sense of the state of the economy. President Tinubu, in his inaugural speech, promised to remodel the economy to bring about growth and development and also end the multiple exchange rates. He also met with the Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPC Limited, Mele Kyari, to discuss the petrol crisis inherited from the previous administration and the withdrawal of fuel subsidy payments. The CEO of Nigeria's oil company disclosed that subsidy payments are no longer sustainable and the federal government already owes 2.8 trillion naira. President Tinubu also met privately with the head of Nigeria's anti-graft agency. Abdulrasheed Bauer briefed the president on Nigeria's fight against corruption. On day 3 of the Tinubu presidency, he met with a special envoy from China's President Xi Jinping, who pledged increased cooperation with Nigeria. President Tinubu told the visiting delegation that Nigeria is open to business and constructive partnership. He also promised to enhance the ease of doing business. On the same day, a team delegated by the president met with organized labor to settle the disputes caused by the withdrawal of fuel subsidy payments. Though the meeting was deadlocked, the talks did not stop. On the 4th day of the life of the Tinubu presidency, service chiefs and the Inspector General of Police were in the presidential villa at the instance of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Fresh directives were issued to guarantee the security of lives and property. Also, the President ordered security agencies to tackle the illegal sale of crude oil and theft that has eaten deep into the country's revenue. On the 5th day, governors of the All Progressives Congress were the guests of Mr. President, and they pledged their loyalty and committed to working closely with President Bola Tinubu in actualizing the Renewed Hope Manifesto. One major highlight of President Tinubu's early days in office is the appointment of Femi Akande as his Chief of Staff and George Akume as his Secretary to the Government of the Federation. The weekend after inauguration was also a busy one as the work never stopped. Another meeting with the Trade Union Congress was convened. This time around, it appears the discussions were fruitful and have started a conversation around the upward review of Nigeria's minimum wage. The Tinubu presidency continues to attract so much attention. and it's also under intense scrutiny by critics, waiting to point out if the president falters. There is also a barrage of commendations by those who believe that his administration is off to a good start. Femi Akande, TVC News, Abuja.
Femi joins me now on the program. Like you said in your report, expectations are high for the Bola Tinubu presidency. In 7 days, apart from the chief protocol officer, we probably have seen him announce the chief of staff, the deputy chief of staff, and the secretary of the government of the federation. I don't know if I'm missing any other appointment, but there are some who would say perhaps they expect him to move faster than this. Do we expect to hear any new appointment this week, Femi?
Well, basically, Femi, these are the major appointments the president has done. The office of the chief of staff, it's very important in running the presidency. It's very critical in how the president's office operates, and also the office of the secretary to the government of the federation is also very crucial to helping the government form its cabinet. The SGF is the head of the cabinet. So these are very important appointments that is gradually helping shape the Tinubu administration and will point it in the direction where it should go. But we are waiting in the coming days to hear some other appointments, especially the appointment of the special advisor on media to the president. Communication is very important. Communication is key, and this government would also be concerned about how they manage communication. So we expect that in the coming days, these appointments will be announced, and some other critical appointments. But we know that he cannot form his cabinet yet until the 10th Assembly is inaugurated, and then he sends the list of the ministers that will make up the cabinet to the Senate for confirmation before these ministers are sworn in. But for now, just two major appointments that we have had announced by the presidency: that of the chief of staff to the president, Femi Akande, and that of the secretary to the government of the federation, George Akume. Nifemi.
The president was scheduled to meet opposition lawmakers today, right? We're told that meeting has now been rescheduled to Thursday. It's a rainbow parliament this time, and the opposition has the number to indeed swing the vote for the 10th Assembly. What is the president seeking to achieve with this meeting?
Well, the president understands that this is the most diverse National Assembly in Nigeria's democratic history, at least since the start of the Fourth Republic in 1999. And the president also understands that he will need the backing of the National Assembly if he will indeed achieve all of what he has promised during his campaign. And he has also said at different fora that he will stand with the choice of the party. The party has come out to make a zoning arrangement that threw up Godswill Akpabio as president of the Senate, that nominated Godswill Akpabio as president of the Senate, and Jibrin Barau as the deputy president of the Senate. Or likewise in the House of Representatives, we have Senator Tajuddin Abbas, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, who is being nominated to occupy the office of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and Benjamin Kalu from Abia State, nominated to occupy the office of the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. What Mr. President is doing is to ensure that, it gets a smooth sail in the National Assembly, to ensure that everyone is on board, because he needs the support of the National Assembly, and he wants to also ensure that, even his party men are all on the same page, and then reach out to people who are on the opposition side, that is members of the opposition party, to see if he can also get their buy-in. He also needs to listen to them, to know what their concerns are, to know what their expectations are, just to help foster a smooth relationship between the executive and the legislative arm of government, because he knows this is very important if his administration will succeed. Nifemi.
Absolutely. The president and his party haven't seemed to budge with opposition within the APC against their choice of leadership in both houses. Is the president still consulting within the APC, and do we expect to see a meeting also in this regard?
Yes, indeed, the president is still consulting within the APC. Just about a few minutes ago, the person nominated by the party to occupy the position of Senate President, that is Senator Godswill Akpabio. He was in the presidential villa to meet with President Bola Tinubu. He also met with the Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima. We also saw the former governor of Ebonyi State, Senator-elect Dave Umahi, in the presidential villa to meet with President Bola Tinubu. Well, all of these meetings happened behind closed doors. We do not know what they discussed, but we can say that we can of course say that most of what would be discussed, apart from other national issues, would also have to do with the issues of the National Assembly, how the leadership of the 10th National Assembly will emerge. And he also wants these influential lawmakers to prevail on their colleagues, to just pave the way for the APC's candidates to emerge as President of the Senate and Speaker of the House of Representatives. Consultations are still ongoing. We expect that when the President meets with senators-elect on the platform of the APC, he would also make a case for these candidates put forward by the party. Again, when he meets with the opposition lawmakers-elect, he would make that same case for these same candidates, and hopefully he will have his way. But one thing is clear: Mr. President is very involved and very concerned about issues of national importance, especially the relationship between the executive and the legislative arm of government. Nifemi.
So a national strike is looming, Femi. Even though the TUC attended the meeting with the federal government yesterday, NLC is insisting that the strike is imminent if NNPC doesn't change its stance on the new pricing. What are you hearing as to how the federal government intends to arrest this from the villa?
Well, Nifemi, there's already a breaking news on TVC News, where we announced that the Nigerian Labour Congress is currently in a meeting with the federal government delegation. They did not come with the TUC yesterday, but they have decided to come in today to meet with the federal government. We have seen in that meeting the Joe Ajero-led NLC, the National Working Committee of the NLC, in that meeting. We have also seen on the government side Adams Oshomole, the Group CEO of NNPC, Mele Kyari. We have seen Dele Alake, who is also a representative on the federal government side. We have seen Honorable James Faleke, a lawmaker, who is also negotiating on the federal government side. You know, that meeting is ongoing. Everyone is waiting. Journalists are staking out there. Even Nigerians are waiting, hoping for a favorable outcome, and perhaps the strike might be shelved. But for now, NNPC is still sticking to their guns. They are here to also listen to the federal government and make their own demands, just like the Trade Union Congress did yesterday. They presented a list of demands to the federal government, among which is the increase in the national minimum wage. They are also asking for tax holiday for civil servants and a whole lot of other demands that they have tabled before the federal government. We expect the NLC to do likewise, and the federal government delegation will take this list and present to Mr. President for his consideration. But you know, the federal government is also saying that they would have to set up a tripartite committee to look at these demands that the organized labor is putting on the table. This committee will be made up of course, the federal government, the organized labor, and indeed the private sector, to ensure that they harmonize everything to know exactly what is obtainable, what is practicable in terms of meeting these demands tabled by organized labor, and also ensure that, you know, all states, the subnational governments, the subnationals are carried on board, carried along, because, you know, most of these states, some of them can't even pay salaries, even the 30,000 minimum wage that we have currently in the country. Not all of the state governments are paying that. So what the federal government is trying to do this time is to ensure that they get a uniform wage that everybody will commit to. The private sector, the subnationals, and the federal government will all commit to, and then hopefully they would forge ahead from there. Nifemi.
All right, let's hope that things change in the coming hours as we also look forward to the outcome of this meeting. Femi Akande, live for us at Aso Villa.